Okay, we are live. So, welcome everyone. This is Kerry Cassidy, and we are here with Shahrokh Zadeh, and he is, I believe, something of an expert on Egypt. He has certain areas that he wants to talk about, and we met at a conference not long ago. So, anyway, welcome, Shahrokh, and why don't we start off with you introducing yourself and how you got involved with Egypt and also with this sort of background information that you want to share?
Yeah, hello. Thank you, Kerry, for having me on your program. It was a great honor to meet you earlier in some of the events, and I'm very happy to be here. Yes, so my name is Shahrokh Zadeh. I'm originally from Iran. I moved to the United States in 2009. I can tell I'm a curious researcher. I'm an author, and I recently become a speaker. I'm the founder of the Ancient Mysteries Decoded. It's a brand of mine. And I'm the founder of a new scientific discipline that I call Mysteryology. So my friends call me the first or the pioneer Mysteryologist. So like many other people, I began with traditional science, but over time I realized that there are three groups of things happening around us. One of them is the natural and life form events, such as earthquakes, Roswell, UFO incident, things like that. The second thing is mysterious locations like the Bermuda Triangle, Skinwalker Ranch, Easter Island, and Giza Plateau, which is important. And also the third group are actually the moments and times. There are specific moments and times that things happen in that time. Like when the airplane, a Malaysia airline, MH370 disappeared, I believe it's a specific time. So anyways, I put these things together and found a lot of patterns and connections between them, and which made it very fascinating. And these patterns can help me predict and prevent disasters. So I published multiple books about the discoveries that I had.
What was your area of expertise in Iran? What did you do in Iran?
So I studied physics and solid state physics, and I was interested in nuclear, but that it didn't go well. So I just, as soon as I finished my studies, I started working in a college that where they were about touring and tourism industry college, and I became the computer manager over there, and I had some other responsibilities. So I had to go around, and that's when I started understanding and learning about some mysterious places and some ziggurats over there, some temples, and it was fascinating. So I started learning about them, and then I found that there's a relationship between these places, mathematical, but I was I didn't have that much confidence to publish them. And so I moved to the United States in 2009, and here I am. I started publishing them and copywriting them one by one.
And you speak English very well. So obviously you knew it, you studied it in Iran.
Good question. Well, actually, my father was a diplomat in the embassy of Iran in the previous regime, not this new Islamic regime. And the previous regime was much more open-minded people. And so he was traveling around, mostly in Asia. So I learned multiple languages because I was a kid and I had to communicate with friends at school. But eventually, because of this lack of practice, I forgot them. But at one point, I was in Hong Kong, and there I attended to a British school for like a few years. And I learned English over there. Again, that was forgotten when I came back to Iran when I was like 11, 12 years old, all the way until I was 40 when I came to the United States.
Which was 2009?
Yes.
All right. And so you've been here, that's about 14 years.
About 16 years to be more.
Okay. And now, in terms of, I sort of have, I guess, a list here of the things that you want to talk about. Are you familiar with the recent find in Egypt before we start?
Well, I read that from one side, it was very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
From another side, it was not, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The surprising part was that science finally found something. And what was not surprising is that we all guessed that this instruction is not what we see only. There are a lot of hidden things inside it and around it, probably some energies, some ley lines, some other stuff, okay? So it was, very, very, very interesting topic and very interesting research that I was very fascinated, but I still think that there is lack of scientific information yet needs to be discovered and announced.
Okay, sure. There's a lot for them to discover. I think there's a lot of things that are hidden about Egypt, and you may know that as well. You have ancient sites in Iran. Have you actually visited those and seen or learned more than is in the general public?
Well, yes, because I was in that industry and I was also working with the librarian over there. And we had a lot of books and pictures and media that were talking about strange areas in Iran. Let me put a parenthesis, open a parenthesis, and say this, that Iran, to me, sometimes it looks like a small version of United States, but it's been rotated like 90 degrees. United States, we have all 4 seasons, and the latitude is, we are in the northern hemisphere, and we have East Coast and West Coast, right? In Iran, it's almost the same. We are northern hemisphere, we're a little bit smaller over there, and it's been rotated because over there we have North Shore and South Shore, okay? So we have the Caspian Sea in the north, and we have the Persian Gulf in the south, and like that. So we have also different plateaus. We have like mountains, like terrains like that. We have deserts. We have very, very cold areas, and we have very, very hot areas. Same as Las Vegas that I live here. We have hot desert over there. That's very hard to live. But surprisingly, we have a lot of actually history, very rich history of strange actually structures over there. Many of the structures in that area is called ziggurats. The ziggurats look like the pyramids, and most of them are like they have a wide and spread what's it called? I can say a base and a very narrow top, and there are multiple floors. Same thing like a stepped pyramid that we have in Egypt, and almost the same era it's been built. But instead of rock, they were using other materials like clays. And it's very interesting that they were worshiping in that time. And I think that besides worshiping, there are other actually perspectives that they were looking, and there were other reasons that they built those things. Anyways, okay. Yes, I've met some of the places, but not all of them. There are a lot.
Okay, I think it's at the Louvre, but I've seen a lot of wonderful artwork, carvings of lions and what I would call Anunnaki, and in a slightly different style than they are depicted in Egypt, but nonetheless similar type statues and so on. So you have a great deal of beautiful artwork there that has mainly gone to the Louvre. Do you also have museums in Iran where some of this is displayed?
Yes, Kerry, I want to say something. And first of all, yes, we have a lot of actually museums, but not very well developed, like the way it is in other countries, developed countries. And due to politics and religion and some other economic problems and issues that they have in Iran. But I don't, when I talk about Iran and I say me and Persia, I don't say that it belongs to me. I think it belongs to the whole humans. All the people in the world have a share over there. And every other part of the world, we belong to Earth. We don't belong to a specific location. Politics created some borders. And I'm not very good in politics. So I look at the nature, and I think that it is, I don't want to specifically say one national, actually a group of people, they built that or they did that and not others. Everybody worked together. Everybody did something in the world, which is very appreciative. So I think I belong to the whole earth and I belong to the whole world. I'm not to the specific location. So I just wanted to emphasize that. So that's my idea. Second of all is
very nice. But I am curious, why did you leave Iran? Did you leave Iran because you had to or because of some other reason?
Both of them. I don't want to talk about politics and religion and all those stuff, but there was a pressure from inside the country to me to come out. And from the other side, there was a attraction from United States, such as freedom of speech, such as freedom of religion and other things. So, but the third thing, which was the main one, was that my family were here. So I was the last member of the family, my main family, that we lived in. I mean, I was living in Tehran, in the capital of Iran. And so that's another motivation for me to come here.
I see. Okay, very good. Now, in terms of what you wanted to talk about today, I've got a list here, and you wanted to talk about, I'm not sure, it says Sha'Z mystic lines. Is that what you wrote here? Because it's not clear than the words you're using.
Yes, it is correct, and it's unknown. Not many people know that. My name is Shahrokh Zadeh. So some of my friends call me Shah, and because my last name starts with Z, so I came up with something, and my daughter named it as Sha'Z, or Shah apostrophe Z. So I just kept that, and during time I just used that. So it's a new term, I think. So some of the things that I found, I had to label it with a name that was not used before to distinguish that specific thing with the other things that's available and it's around. So that's why I use the name and the term Sha'Z, Shah apostrophe Z. I don't know, I might change it, but I don't know, I haven't changed it yet. Yes,
so,
that's the reason.
Now, is this something that you've written about in your book, or do you want to explain what you're referring to here?
So yes, that's the first topic that I wanted to talk about shortly, is that I studied a lot back in my country, and there was not much information there. There was not internet. There wasn't much libraries, rich libraries that it is in other places.
Well, so wait one second. You're saying you didn't have internet in Iran?
I didn't have it when I was younger. When I was much younger. Then eventually internet started developing, and don't forget, that's the third world country. We're always behind in these kind of technologies. So
they have been. It's that paradigm is sort of changing now, but yes, up to now.
And still they are struggling over there in that country, in Iran. For technology and on purpose. Right. Anyways, so I went to libraries and started looking at the books, and my curiosity was learning something around earthquakes. So how to prevent earthquakes, or at least predict it. I don't know, it's very complicated. I thought it's something simple. And don't forget, I'm just about 18, 19 years old. An event happened in Iran, and it affected me. You know, I really wanted to be useful. So I started going to the library, local library around. And over there, I found some books. Whatever I found, I started reading it to see if I can find something about earthquakes. Meanwhile, I was reading topics such as Flight 19. I was reading topics about Bermuda Triangle. I was reading some things about the Egyptian pyramids and other monuments around the world, which was amazing. So mysteries attracted me a lot while I was studying about the earthquakes. So then, long story short, I came up with a relationship between many of these mysteries. And I don't know if I want to call it chance or luck or whatever, that it looks like it helped me to now develop a method which I called Mysteryology. And this method is a study about mysteries or something that we are still baffling to understand. And so I use everything that I can find in science, in pseudoscience, or even in metaphysics, whatever I can. I try to find and put things together to comprehend and understand why is that mystery a mystery, why it happened and why people don't understand it, and how to develop it and expand that to other mysteries. So the term Mysteryology was a long time ago term that it was in my head. So I started bringing it out, and I studied a lot. I found a lot of things, but due to the politics and problems in my country, in that country over there, I was scared to reveal them. At one point, one of my friends asked me to go and talk with the former president of Iran, which was Mr. Khatami. Mr. Khatami was only 4 months after his presidency. I had a chance to send him an email and quickly get invited. And over there, I talked about Mecca and Egypt a little bit. And he wanted me to continue my research and communicate with him and with other scientists in the country. But from another side, I decided to come out of the country and come to the United States. So I started trying to stop my projects and started coming out to get here. So many of these research were done in my country, hiddenly and solo, only by myself, alone, at home, because I was scared to announce it or talk with everybody about it. So until I came to the United States.
So what about, can you give us an example of an idea that would be dangerous to have in Iran?
Well, we have some fanatic people and radical people over there that they are very, very, what can I say, about the specific things that they believe and they like. And they don't believe anything otherwise. And they're not open-minded. They're so narrow-minded. I call them dot-minded. Dot-minded people, they don't have any dimension. You know, it is what it is. There's no dimension in it. So they have the power and they have the gun. And I was afraid of being attacked by them or for any reason.
Okay, but give me one idea that you were working on that you think that they wouldn't like, or you were worried about them not liking.
Okay, okay, if I want to give you one idea, is that I found out that there's a relationship between a place that the king of Iran, the previous, ancient king of Iran, created and built in a place in Iran, which is called Kermanshah. It's one of the provinces. That there's a big rock. A section of that rock is been carved by the order of the king, and that area is called Tag Bostan. It's in near the city called Kermanshah, and there's a road in front of it. That's one of the longest and ancient road in Iran, in the whole Iran. I think it was called Shahid Shahudi, something like that. It's a boulevard, and interestingly, from one side, I noticed that line, the road in front of it, was exactly or with 1 degree or 2 degrees towards Mecca, which is an Islamic holy place, okay, in Saudi Arabia. And it's in the city called Mecca, and there's a structure over there, a cubic structure, which is they cover it with a black etcher curtain, and it's called Kaaba. Yeah. So I noticed this road is toward there, and I was thinking that maybe there's a relationship between this road and that the Kaaba because of the Islam. But from another side, I noticed that the distance from that location to Kaaba is almost the same, like a few miles difference with the Egyptian pyramid. That's one of the things that I found. And this second part might people not like.
Going in another direction.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and most interestingly, when I started digging in more with geometry, I found out that when you draw the lines, it creates a triangle. And that's the isoscale triangle. Here comes geometry. And that isoscale triangle, at the point of the Kaaba and at the point of the Giza pyramids, towards north, their angles mirror each other. For example, one of them is 34 degrees positive, the other one is negative 34 degrees. So some numeral relationships was discovered in that time. So I was afraid to bring it out because There are people that they like that I talk about Iran and Kaaba, but there are people that they don't like it. I talk about Iran and Egypt because of the bad relationship that there is between Iran and Egypt. So I was stuck. So I didn't know what to say, what to do, how to act, how to publish it. This is one section. That triangle is very important. Later on, I found a lot of interesting things in that triangle that is a lot fascinating, and I wrote them down in the book, many parts of it.
Okay, so that's a kind of archaeology in a way.
Yeah.
But you weren't trained as an archaeologist, is that correct? Hello?
No, that's true.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Do you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
all of a sudden you froze up. Everything froze for a minute. Okay, so I was saying you didn't have a training as an archaeologist, but did you study it on your own, or how did this happen, do you think?
So I use simple mathematics and some simple geometry that I already studied at high school and at my university when I was studying physics. And those are the things I studied. And because I was working in that industry, and I was touching base with many archaeologists in Iran. So I was the manager of the IT, and I was in that industry. So we had a lot of seminars, and I had communications with many archaeologists. So that's why I had a little bit self-study, and that's why I studied those things, and I was curious about these things, and that's how these relationships revealed itself to me.
Okay. So that's one example where you think that your work was going to be sort of stopped in part because they wouldn't like the outcome or some conclusions that you would come to. Is there another area that you can talk about? Because I see, I'm going to bring your website here on the screen. And there's a book in the center, basically, that says Mysteryology Codes, Part 1, UAP. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I want to talk about that, but do you mind if I talk a little bit about the book on the left side of my website, which is called Sha'Z Square, because it's right aligned with our topic that we are talking about.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so so that book is about Sha'Z Square. So I found that accidentally that there are ziggurats over there, and one of the ziggurats is called the ziggurat of Ur, and the other one is ziggurat of Dur. They're very similar names. So both of them are in Iraq, today's country Iraq, but they belong to the ancient era. So these two are very interesting because the way that they're designed is that there's a square-ish base and or like a rectangular base, but very close to a square. And in front of it, there's a row of stairs going straight. So out of curiosity, I followed the stairs in the top, and it led me to the other ziggurat, which was lower, and that was ziggurat of Ur. And ziggurat of Ur had almost the same structure. It was like a rectangular or what's it called, square-ish base with another row of stairs in front of it towards another direction. And so I followed the stairs again, and I came up with the third ziggurat, which is called the Choga Zambir. This one is in Iran, and it's one of the most famous, actually, ones, very famous there, over there, very important, the way it's structured and everything. And that's also square. So the distances between these, it creates a triangle when you add them together. And I noticed this triangle is not just a random triangle. It is, yeah, exactly. The picture on the left side, you can see that. And you can see how it's similar to the pyramid structures, like the step pyramids. And so interestingly, the distance between these two are the same. They're like about 150, 160 miles. So I thought that this can create something, this is something larger, this is something important. So I zoomed out when I was looking through Google Earth. I zoomed out at the map. I noticed it creates a right triangle. So it's a right triangle. The middle down, which has the 90 degrees, is ziggurat of Ur. The top left is ziggurat of Dur. Down right is the ziggurat of Chogazambil. So because the structures had the base of square, I thought that this might not be the complete shape. It might be a square, not a right triangle. And I was right. I end up to the same location that I was talking earlier. The top was done. And this
Sorry,
square almost
excuse me.
perfect.
Okay, you broke up when you said your last sentence. So could
I'm
you
sorry.
say what you just said again? Just the last sentence.
So the three ziggurats created a right triangle. Okay. So I thought that due to the square shape of the bases of these three ziggurats, this might not be a triangle. It might be a square. So I looked at the fourth corner and I found Talk Bostan, which I was talking about earlier, right in the corner. So when I connect these three ziggurats to the Talk Bostan, it creates a square shape. And this is amazing because the square shape is not exactly north, south, east, west, like the Giza pyramids, right? It's been a little bit tilted. The same way as those three ziggurats, the base of those three ziggurats are tilted. So all three ziggurats are squares, a little bit tilted. The Sha'Z square, the big one, also is square and tilted. And then a lot of other mysterious things appeared.
Okay, such as?
So I put these things in my book, Sha'Z Squared, the book that you saw
Right.
when you showed my website, the black one. And over there, one of the things that I want to say is that there's a triangle. This is very important triangle between the Talk Bostan, Mecca, or Kaaba, and the pyramids, the Giza pyramids. This triangle is very, very interesting and very important. That's what I found. And then I found a lot of mathematical relationships between this triangle, these areas, with other monuments in the world, other structures in the world, ancient ones specifically.
Okay, now is it possible to go inside these ziggurats?
Some of them, yes, but not all of them, due to the collapse that they had, because of the weather damages, what they say, collision and correlation. And what happened is that many of them collapsed, as you can see in the middle right now in the picture, in the image, that the ceilings of many of these ones collapsed. So to go inside is some of them yes, some of them no, but to go to the environment, I think all of them you can.
Okay, and in the case of these ziggurats, do they, keep them? Do they work on them? Do they try to reconstruct broken parts, that kind of thing?
Well, unfortunately, and very sadly, this is the bad news that's coming for the archaeologists and everybody who is interested in ancient history. Unfortunately, the governments are not paying attention at all. I mean, it's almost 0% attention for the government and the regime, not just the government, the whole regime.
Okay, very interesting. Well, you have, I don't even know, but do you have tourism in Iran much?
We had a lot before the revolution,
Okay.
but as the revolution happened, it diminished, and almost it's zero right now.
Yes, very
I
sad.
can tell even it's now like negative because even the Persians try to flee from that country. It is what it is.
Opposite of tourism. Okay, yes, that's funny. It's sad, but it's funny. Okay. So have you visited these places in person?
Not all of them, as I mentioned earlier, but some of them I did. I wish I had spent more time. Luckily, these days with YouTube, many of these people are going around and they take videos and they share it on YouTube and other media.
Right.
which is very appreciated because you can get a lot of information. And thanks to the technology, while having programs like Google Earth, you can go and zoom in and out and see a lot of these images virtually, not visually. If you don't mind, I want to talk about a little bit about the area in United States, if you're interested.
Well, maybe. I mean, because there's, I wanted to kind of concentrate on Egypt and Iran because those are your areas. But what did you want to say about America? You know, and
since you're interested, I want to bring something that increases your interest. I believe that these locations are not randomly picked and are not randomly selected.
Sure.
And so, like, for example, Sha'Z Square, each one of them, of these structures, have been built in hundreds of years apart. One of them was like 2,500 before, if I'm not mistaken, 2,500 or 1,500 before the Christ. I mean, like, it's about 3,500 years old. It's about the area of the Egyptian pyramids. And some of them are a little bit recent, more recent, like about a few hundred years ago. So how did they know about each other's location? Okay, for example, if they built one of the structures a few kilometers or few miles up, down, left, right, otherwhere, this shape would not appear. So now let me give you a few quick reasons what I'm talking about, and this is geometry only, not touching their religion, not touching politics, not touching anything. The pyramids of Giza, the main one, I mean the three big one in the Giza plateau, they are aligned exactly north, south, east, west, right? And each square has a diameter. The diameter of those Egyptian pyramids, if you draw the line and continue, it goes all around the world, right? Have that in mind. And also it passes the Kaaba. Very interesting. Not precisely, but very, very close. It passes from that, that structure. Then you go to other pyramids, you go to old pyramids specifically. I found one of the oldest pyramids in the whole Southern America, for example. It's called the Ruins of Coral. And then that one, it also is very damaged during time. And it has still the base is showing over there. And there's a diameter. It's not straight north, south, east, west. It's tilted. But when you draw the lines in the diameter, it has an intersection. That line goes around the world, and it has an intersection with the line from the Egypt, right? The intersection is the Kaaba.
Really? Okay, yes, very interesting. Okay,
very interesting.
What place is this? Because I didn't understand the way you pronounced the word.
It's a coral ruins. It's in the, I think it's like 6,000 years old, and it's in the southern part of, it's in the Southern America.
You mean in Florida, the coral?
No, it's in the Southern America continent. Let me see if we can. South America continent.
Okay, but you don't know, what is the name?
I'm going to try to see if I can bring up the map here.
Okay.
Maybe it's easier to see. If I can just find it.
Or you could just spell the name and I'll do a search.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. Okay. Caral, C-A-R-A-L.
Yes.
Yeah, that's called the Ancient Ruins of Coral.
Oh, all right.
If that comes up.
Yes, in Peru. Yes.
Yeah, it's in the Peru.
Okay, hold on. Okay, 1 minute. So I found it here. So this is what you're talking about.
Yes, it's in the top right. You can see the circle over there. But there are pyramids a little bit lower, and you can see in the second row in the left. Yes. That's one of the structures. As you can see, it's very similar to the ziggurats in Persia.
Okay. Yeah, does seem to be a bit of a similarity.
There are a lot of similarities. Yeah.
It's a little bit destroyed, it looks like.
Yeah.
but it is in Peru. I wonder how far it is from the Nazca lines. Are you familiar with the Nazca?
Yes, I'm very familiar with Nazca lines, but it's I think it's about a few thousand miles away.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's far away. But my curiosity came up with the shape of this building, the structure. It's very similar to the ziggurats in Persia.
Right.
And also because it looks like a square base, and you can see the stairs in the side of it, in the left side and in the right side of the image.
Okay.
So I thought that there might be a relationship. And interestingly, I found that the diameter reaches the Kaaba. And don't forget, Kaaba is now an Islamic place, but before it was, according to some Quran verses, it's been rebuilt by Abraham. So it was there for a much, much longer time. There are some documents that tells that Kaaba was created by Egyptians. So I don't know, I'm not very sure about that, but very interesting that these places are related to each other.
Okay, when you say the Kaaba, are you talking about the actual stone that's in there, or are you talking about what's around it?
I'm talking about the area, mostly, the location.
Okay.
Not the building.
Wasn't the actual, there was actually the stone, isn't it a square stone type of thing?
It's not one stone. It's been built by multiple stones. It was a house of worship long time ago, even before the Prophet Muhammad was there. Yeah, they go in and they prayed. Okay.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it much. It's not my specialty. It's not my specialty.
Subject.
Yeah, but I'm not talking something bad. It's actually very good about that location. That location seems very important to me now. Interestingly, when they built it, whenever they built it, and the first structure of that was built, they didn't build it towards north, south, east, west. Although they knew that the 90 degrees angles, they knew that the cube shape is important in mathematics. Okay, but somehow they didn't build it north, east, south, west, and many people are talking about this. Now, here comes a very strange thing, a very goosebump thing, at least for me, is that, you remember I talked about Sha'Z square and how it looks like a square that's been rotated a little bit when you look at it from space on the top of the land in that area. That shape is similar to the roof of Kaaba when you look at it from the top, when you zoom in.
Okay.
So it's similar shape with angles. So if you put these two shapes together, of course, Sha'Z square is much, much larger than the ceiling of Kaaba. But when you shrink that, okay, with the same proportion, when you make it smaller, it has the same dimension, same size, and same angles with the roof of Kaaba. How come? Is it accidental? Is it random?
Okay. Which structure are you referring to? You're referring to the Kaaba is the same roof structure as what?
As a Sha'Z square. As if you remember again, Sha'Z square is a big square area that connects four structures. Three of them are the ziggurats, and one of them is the Talkabostan, which the king ordered.
Okay, can you spell the Shah square?
Yeah, it's SHA''Z.
And this is its formal name?
And square, this is the name I put in my book for the first time. It's not popular. You only find it in...
okay, well then what would it be called in by the...
There's no name in Iran. This is the only thing.
There's no name?
It's been created by me. It's been coined by me. I'm the person who coined this and published it, I think, 2018, 19, the first one, and the second version came up in 2020, right before the pandemic.
I see.
Yeah, this is the book that's been...
And this is your book?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the old version. Kerry, can I ask you to go to my website, please? Yes. In the top right, it says books. If you don't mind clicking on that. In the right side, yep. Those are the list of my books. The second one is Sha'Z Square. Yes, and if you scroll down, that is the red side is the area of Shah Square on the map.
I see.
Yeah, as you can see, the Persian Gulf is below that. Caspian Sea is above it.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's Saudi Arabia. Now, if you scroll down more, if you go down, these are some of my, yes, and yeah, here.
Okay.
So there's some pictures here that is taken from my book. This is the ziggurat of Dur. Those are the stairs. As you can see in the center, that's the square structure of ziggurat of Dur. This is the ziggurat of Ur, and you can see the stairs and how the lines are. This is another schematic of the ziggurat of Dur. This is Choga Zambil. You can see from top, that's a square. And this is another picture of Choga Zambil, which you were showing earlier. This is the area of Tok Bostan. This is a lake, a small Abhi pond. And this image here shows how you connect them together becomes a square. This is the red square of Sha'Z Square. The red square is Sha'Z Square. This is something carved inside the Tok Bostan. As you can see, the king sitting. This is the image of Persepolis, the capital of Persia before. There's some lines and circles here that you can see is the details are in my book. This shows the comparison about the structures, how they look alike. And this is a temple in Rome that is towards the Shah Square. And this line is just showing that it passes through the diameter of Shah Square. The images are going too fast. I have to somehow reduce the speed.
All right. Well, yeah.
This picture, if you can click and hold,
yes.
this one, the next one. No, the
other way.
The other way, yeah. Next one. If you click on this, I think it will open. No, if you click in the center.
All right, hold on.
Okay, so if you can, so you see the white square in the top. That's the ceiling of Kaaba. The red one is the small size or small proportion of Shah's Square. You can see how the ceiling of Kaaba is almost identical with the roof of Kaaba. Oh, you need to go back left.
Okay, when you say the roof of Kaaba, you're actually, this is not the the thing in the middle that they all go around, but
that is.
Oh, that
it is.
That is. But yeah. It's much smaller, right?
Yeah, because I zoomed it from while I was using Google Earth. Right. I zoomed in, and that's where I took the picture. So the picture is coming from that. You need to go to the left if you don't mind. No, left side.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps on moving. So you can see there, the dots, the dark dots over there are people walking around the building. So I drew that red square right beside it to show the similarities about their angles and distances, everything.
Okay, now, have you ever done that, gone in around it?
No.
Okay, so why do they believe so much about this particular square place?
It's a respect.
Is it just because is it because of the rock thing? And you say it's not one stone, it's several?
Yeah, so in that time, it said, the articles talk about Abraham putting the stones and the rocks on top of each other to create that, to rebuild that, actually. So it was built before, he just rebuilt it. And the reason people go around it is the tradition that the Muslims have, which I'm not much aware of that, exact root of that and the reason, but 7 times they rotate around that. In that area.
So you do you consider yourself Persian?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not Muslim?
Well, I consider myself as a Persian who believes in humanity and a creator.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
I'm not very sophisticated person. I just make it very simple. I believe there's a creator. And it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, but I believe it is. But then I believe that humanity is very important, so we need to help each other and do the good things. Very simple. That's how I worship my creator.
Okay, now to get back to this list, and I wanted to talk about the UAP book, but we're not going to have enough time for all these different subjects here. But is there a reason, if you do or you don't want to talk about the UAP book? Because my audience would be interested, because of the title.
Yeah, as you said, it's a lot. If you're not going to believe me, I'm writing right now something around 8 books. It's under construction.
Okay.
So 3 of them has been released so far. Multiple more is coming out. So the thing is that I came up with this Mysteryology, a lot of things, but I have to start publishing them one by one so my audience can follow. Okay, so I have to start from scratch. So the black book, which is Sha'Z Square, is where my audience starts and start reading it. The one in the left, yes.
I understand.
After that, I show that shows a mathematical relationship between a lot of structures, a lot of places in the Middle East, and then I expanded it to other structures in the world. Okay, so I showed it over there as many as I could, not to confuse my audience, but as much as is understandable and easy to follow and comprehend. In the last chapters of that, I showed that our nature is also following a pattern. It's not just randomly the Mount Everest is coming somewhere and we have a continent called Australia. And no, there's a pattern involved. There's a scientific law involved over there. As an example, I showed that if you draw a map, azimuthal map, centered at a location near Mecca, for example, you will see a pattern. That pattern tells you that there's another continent in the Pacific Ocean. And it's very simple. You don't need to have a PhD in, I don't know, in astronomy or something to understand it. You don't need to be a rocket scientist, as I said. So that pattern easily shows that there's a relationship between the shape of the continents and the borders of the seashores of them. And there should be another continent, another land in Southern Pacific or in that area. I named it continent M because I didn't know anything else about it. So it shows it in my book, and that's an example of nature, mathematics, and geometry. So that's about that book. But then when I came to United States, I started learning about Bermuda Triangle and some other things that are fascinating. And I used my lens and my perspective, my Mysteryology, and I found relationships between mysterious things in the United States and this area. For example, 3 of the mysterious places in the United States on the land, is called the Bridgewater Triangle near Boston. The other one is Lake Michigan Triangle. It's on the lake of the Michigan Lake. And the other one is, the largest one is Nevada Triangle. That, to my surprise, although it starts from Las Vegas, goes to Reno, and then goes to Fresno, California, this triangle, this area is very mysterious. And not just airplanes, small or big or military airplanes disappear, but also people disappear there while they're hiking.
Okay.
Very fascinating. So I found a geometric relationship between them, and I put them in a book called Sha'Z Mystic Lines and Areas. I didn't want to confuse my audience with ley lines. So I put it like with that name, and then I published it. And that's also available. And many things are...
Okay, well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but, there's an ET base in that area. That you're
in which area?
The one where people disappear, the triangle between, did you say Nevada?
Nevada Triangle, yeah.
Yeah. So it was, are you saying Vegas, Reno, and Fresno? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's the area. And you can see in my book, if you can go to the section books again, in the top right, yeah. Go to the 4th one. It says Sha'Z Mystic Lines and Areas. Yeah, this is a better picture of the, if you go scroll down, I think there might be another picture. Uh, it's not the big one. So if you
No.
can click on the last one down in the center, maybe you can, and the one down in the center.
No, this one?
Yeah, if you can zoom in. I don't know if you can.
Yeah. A little bit, not much though.
Not much. Okay.
Yeah.
So the red part, the red triangle, you can see in the left side. Yeah,
Yes.
exactly where you put your mouse. That is very surprisingly, that area, we have Area 51 also there.
Right.
And besides that, there are other natural things that people don't pay attention much. So my Mysteryology method came up with something called, what's it called? Sha'Z mystic force. It's a hidden force that is very surprisingly is around and is hidden. We cannot see it. Only with calculations and with numbers you can see it, with angles. So it touches that in nature we have specific locations that they are mystic and they behave differently. For example, the hottest space in the whole United States is called the Death Valley. Death Valley is amazingly exactly on that line in the border of Sha'Z, in the border of
Right.
Nevada Triangle.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
In the border. And also near that area, there is the largest gold mines of the whole United States, which is, I think, the second one in the whole world. So you see that nature is playing with us. Nature is not just revealing itself in the weather. It's revealing itself as a mountain tip. It's revealing itself as a hottest spot on the planet. It's revealing itself and as a, what's it called? The gold mines and other stuff.
Okay.
And very interestingly, I found relationships between that area with other mysterious areas like Skinwalker Ranch and Sedona vortexes. And amazing things appeared, which I wrote down in my book, the white book, Sha'Z Mystic Lines and Areas. And I also touched a little bit about some mysterious UFO incidents.
Uh-huh.
So I prepared my audience for my blue book, which is the UAP, which has been published just a few months ago.
Oh, I see. Okay. And what is that book about exactly?
So that book, the problem is that we have a lot of incidents, UFO incidents that everybody's talking about, but this most of the people that they research about it go individually about the incidents itself. So one of the methods in Mysteryology that helps to understand what is happening is to compare that incident with a similar incident. So in that book, I showed multiple similar incidents and how they are related to each other. And because it's scientific and it's all numbers and maps, it's undeniable. It's for the first time. So the largest incident, the most important incident in the United States regarding the UFOs is the Roswell incident. And everybody talks about it. There's a challenge between the government, the Army, the Navy, whatever, with the people who were there. The Army says it's a balloon, and we have evidence that it's a balloon, and they showed the evidence. Let's assume they were right. In the other side, we have people that they were there. They took pictures, they took samples, and they say it was a UFO, it was unidentified, it was creature there. There was biological entities there, which are not human. And the problem is that the government selected those images from the public, and it's not in the access, right? It's not accessible anymore. And so there's a challenge. There always, all the books that you read, all the documentaries that you watch is a challenge between people who try to prove it existed, this incident happened and occurred. And from the other side, the government says no, and we deny it. So I picked that where it's left off, and I found a similar incident in the other side of the world in Russia. In Russia, there's an incident, very famous incident happened, and it's called the Roswell incident, sometimes some people say. And it happened in a specific area called Sverdlovsk. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sverdlovsk is is an incident in Russia, a little bit higher and above what's it called, this Moscow. Okay.
Okay.
And that incident is not just.
Can you give me the spelling of this place in Russia?
Yes, it's S as in Sam, V as in Victor, E as in elephant, R, D as in David, L, O, V as in Victor, S as a Sam, K as a king.
I think I spelled that wrong. Sverdlovsk.
I call it Sverdlovsk, but I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I don't know. I might not have the right place.
So there is a video out and it's been published, and I don't know if you can see it or not. This is the CD of that video. I had it before, I got it. It says that this gentleman, Roger Moore, actually hosted a program, a documentary program, and it's called The Secret KGB UFO. Maybe that would help you.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see it or not. Somehow it's not showing. Is it showing to you?
Secret KGB UFO. There's I guess, some books about it.
Yeah.
So what about, this is talking about this particular place or a particular sighting?
So interestingly, KGB actually investigated on this, and in that time the Russians recorded, not with one cameraman but multiple, at least 2 or 3, of a disc that half of it was in the mud inside the ground and half of it was outside. It's about 4 meters, around 3, 4, 5 meters, and half of it was outside of the mud, and it was like silvery. It's almost the same shape as my book that you are seeing right now, almost. Okay, with more smooth surface, and it's grayish or silvery color, like that. So there are a lot of soldiers there, and the soldiers arrive and protect the area, and it's been all recorded. The video is out there. Okay. And that's the first part of it, of the story, that the video that's talking about. The second part of the video is an autopsy of a green entity, that a portion of the body is left and one piece of a hand and arm was left. And there were some surgeons with...
is this the UFO you're talking about?
No, I just drew a picture over there by AI. I just put it over there too.
No, this is online. This is a photograph of a UFO in a forest. This is perhaps the site you're talking about.
No, this is not. I just picked that one in the center of the book to align with the name of the title of my book, UFO.
Well, I'm not following your... I got this from... this is a bunch of stuff about the Russian UFO.
So let me rephrase it quickly. This is an incident in Russia that there's a video available, and the video contains 2 sections. One section is the cameraman is recording and showing the UFO itself, which half of it is inside the ground and half of it is outside, and there are a lot of soldiers around it. The other part is an autopsy of a biological entity that the doctors are I'm doing an autopsy on it. Okay, so I picked that incident. The location approximately is available online, and there's some documents about it, and also the time, but the time is not very accurate. So I picked the location of that incident and compared it with the Roswell incident location.
Okay.
To see if I can find something. Amazingly, I found. What I found is that both of the incidents happened in a specific area. For example, the Roswell incident happened, if I want to compare it with Mysteryology and compare it with nature, it's about 1/3 of the distance from the equator to the North Pole. So if you have a globe, if you have an equator, the Roswell incident happened in about 1/3 of a distance between the equator all the way to the North Pole, okay? In the other side, the Russian incident happened, same thing, 1/3, but the opposite. It's 1/3 from the North Pole all the way down to the equator. So they are reversing, they are mirrored each other, okay? And when you put these latitude numbers, the average is exactly like 42, 43, or 45 degrees, which means that geometrically they are related to each other. So here numbers come up. From another side, the most interesting thing that I found here is that when you draw a line from this incident to the other incident, this line passes almost very close to the North Magnetic Pole. And the center of this line, the middle point of this line, is near the center of the magnetic pole. So that means that there is a balance, there is a relationship, not just magnetically, but also geometrically between these two incidents. So to me, I can come up with a scenario that there was a portal opening in that time. Either the UFO was coming out or was going in, and it did not align very well. The devices malfunctioned. Both of them end up crashing. In the Russia, they just crashed. In Roswell, they were crashing, but this is my hypothesis. Before crashing, it hit the balloon. So both of them fell down on the ground.
Okay, but are you saying they happened in the same year?
No, they happened in different years, different timing. So Roswell was in 1947, July, early July. I believe it was the second, because numbers show that was the second. The other one happened in 1969 in Russia, and I'm not aware exactly about the exact timing, and there's no document about the timing. So I don't know the time of that.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. I'm not sure about the relationship.
The relationship with all the numbers and details are written in my book for reference. You can go and read step by step how it happened and what is my hypothesis and why it solves this enigma between regular people who witnessed and the government who's saying and denying the event. But very interestingly, I did the same thing to another two incidents. And this one, this time I picked up the Frederick Valente, which is a pilot in Australia. And he was flying in 1978 in the southern part of Australia in the Bass area. And he just radios back to the tower that, hey, there's an object, an airplane underneath me. That airplane does not have a wing. It's round, it's metallic, it's silvery. And it doesn't have any known proportion. How do I know it's moving? Okay, no perpendicular, nothing. Purples and no fuselage. And so he was so confused, and everything is recorded. And the radar shows that object, the plane, but not the object. It looks, as much as I recall. But unfortunately, both of them, the UFO and the pilot with the plane, disappeared. We know the exact location and the time. Until today, there's no wreckage or there's no body found, nothing found. Similar incident happened in the United States in 1953. Radar shows a UFO, an object flying, and so they scrambled a jet, towards that, and the jet was, that area was Lake Michigan, above Lake Michigan in the big lakes, and this plane goes there. And he says, I see the object. They told him to get closer and engage, something like that. So the plane gets closer and the communication fails. When similar as the Valentich, that the communication failed. So this one, they still tracked it in radar while they're looking at both of the blips in the radar, the UFO and the plane. So they get closer to each other while the UFO was steady. The plane gets closer. At one point, they merge. So there's only one blip, and that blip also disappears. Until today, they haven't found anything about that incident, and they don't talk about it. They talk a lot about the Malaysia airline that disappeared, but they don't talk about this. These two are very similar cases. Again, according to the Mysteryology, I stepped up and I started looking at these two cases.
Okay.
Very, very interestingly, both of the cases have identical, I'm telling you, identical distance with the nearest magnetic pole. 1,850 miles, both of them. So, and also the latitudes, the Valentage 1978 incident is about 1/3 of the distance between the equator to the South Pole, while Kinross in 1953 is about 1/3 of that towards the North Pole. And when you put these two together, the average is 45 degrees. How come?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And there's more information. So I found relationships between these two similar incidents of Roswell and the Russian, same as the other two incidents as that they disappeared, the two people that they disappeared with the plane, with the UFO. So there are 4 incidences, and there's a bridge, a scientific bridge that connects these two situations with each other. It only happened with the Mysteryology method that I came up with, and I'm trying to find relationships, mathematical and scientific relationships in between. This is a little bit about the UFA book. A little bit. There's way more than that.
I want to thank you for coming on the show, and it's very interesting what you're investigating.
Thank you.
I think the audience will have quite an overview of your work, and I think you did a great job with that. So
thank you so much, and thank you for having me in your wonderful program. I'm following it, each one of the episodes that you bring up, and it's very fascinating that how you are open-minded and go through these things. And thank you again, and hope to see you again, and we have more information revealed.